The 49ers starting quarterback, currently not real good. It's Kyle Shanahan, who has made Jimmy Garoppolo the guy for this week. And Shanahan said yesterday, I don't think we have the sound, but Shanahan said yesterday on Garoppolo, we didn't go into the Colts game thinking Jimmy was one game away from losing his job. Trey Lance hasn't practiced in 2 weeks, so when he does come back, he'll probably be limited as it is. Odds are when it comes to the game plan, you're not going to start rotating quarterbacks because it's not an open competition right now. And Shanahan said after the game on Sunday night, I guess Jimmy will be the starter. They announced yesterday that Garoppolo will be the starter. They're 2-4. They've lost 4 in a row after that 2-0 start. They had the 2 East Coast games, Detroit and Philly, stayed in West Virginia the week in between. So much for the Greenbrier being a house of horrors. They should maybe relocate there all year. They only win when they stay at the Greenbrier between games. They're 0-4 since then. And I don't know how this gets any better, and I don't know how far it goes beyond the quarterback, but clearly Garoppolo isn't the answer. I know it was wet and it was rainy, but he looked horrible on Sunday night. And Carson Wentz didn't look much better, but the Colts went in there and beat them, and they were a desperate team. I was so concerned about picking the Colts to win that game because the 49er desperation level I thought would kind of do what it did for Cleveland on Thursday night. This is your kick in the ass. It's win now or start thinking about the rest of the season is just kind of, playing out the string and waiting for 2022. So I don't know what they do. What's your thought on what they should do moving forward?
Well, I mean, right now, I think, of course, Trey Lance isn't healthy. So there's not much to talk about there, let alone it's a guy that hasn't got a ton of reps. We know he's raw. So I think they're going to, before they even think about throwing him back into the ring there, they're going to want him to be back 100% healthy and probably get some practice time back underneath his belt before they just go, hey, wait, you're healthy, you're going to play this week. Then you're setting yourself up for a disaster there if you do that, in my opinion, because he's not going to be ready to go. And then if he throws 3 interceptions, he gets hurt again, it's going to look really bad on Shanahan and Lynch. So they got to be careful about how and when, they throw Trey Lance out there. But like your point about Jimmy Garoppolo, real. I mean, it's injury again. The first 2 wins of the year were solid. Detroit was a solid win. Eagles game was not good at all. Then it was what? Green Bay, he played really good in the second half of that football game, right? Seattle, he gets hurt again. And now it's like, well, we got to wait for him to get totally healthy, and it was not good the other night. You're right about that. I mean, one team had a quarterback who could throw the ball on third down. One team had a quarterback and an offense that would throw the ball down the field and outside the numbers. And that's where Garoppolo hurts them, and Shanahan, I think, a little bit plays into that because he's always designing plays over the middle. I wish he would throw the ball outside the numbers a little bit more, but he's probably scared to because of plays like this. When you throw a weak, 87-mile-per-hour changeup out there, yeah, DBs, Xavier Rhodes, they're going to make plays on it. So that's where they're in a tough spot right now, and there's some issues there for this 49ers football team. I mean, that's a quacker right there.
Look, I still don't understand any of the decisions the 49ers have made as it relates to quarterback, dating back to passing on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson in 2017. But the whole Trey Lance thing, right? You've got a quarterback already in Jimmy Garoppolo whose career has been derailed by injury. Why do you ultimately invest 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick in a mobile quarterback, and you're going to have this transformation on how you view the position, and you want a guy who's going to run it now? There are quotes from Kyle Shanahan back in training camp. He'll know when to run. He'll know when to protect himself. He needs to learn those things. And then he starts one game, and he's out for 2 weeks and counting with a knee injury. It would seem that and this gets back to the whole, did they really want Mac Jones when they traded up? And I know that you believe they did. Mac Jones is healthy right now, even though he got drilled into the turf 9 days ago by Randy Gregory.
Right.
It wasn't while he was running the ball.
Yeah.
If you're worried about your quarterback staying healthy, why do you give up all those assets to draft a guy who you expect to run when you know that running is the quickest way to get yourself injured?
Yeah, listen, it's certainly a big question. I think a lot of things probably came into play. Of course, they liked Trey Lance. I think they liked his ceiling, his high-end ability there, which I understand. I think there's an aspect of Shanahan, and I think he's alluded to this a little bit, of just staying ahead of the curve with offense a little. He's got a lot of tentacles as far as his ex-coaches around the league who are running his stuff. So I think there's that aspect where, not only does he have ex-coaches out there in the league running his stuff, but because he's been the man about game planning and running plays and play action for so long too, just like everything else, the league has stolen a lot of those ideas, even not ex-coaches. They've gone and go, well, damn, we played the 49ers last week. Look at those 4 plays Shanahan has. That's awesome. Ooh, that was smart. Let me put it out in my playbook. So that, of course, hurts Shanahan a little bit because now teams are seeing a few Shanahan plays on a weekly basis. So I think all of that played into it, but I think at the same time, and I think I've said this before, I don't think he's given himself enough credit in that category. Again, we see tentacles of coaches go everywhere. They're never as good as the master. They're never as good as the master. They're not. These coaches are smart. They don't let all their assistants in on all the tricks. They don't know that. I mean, does Shane Waldron look like Sean McVay up there in Seattle right now? Absolutely freaking not. Absolutely not. Because he doesn't know what into making the donuts every day. He doesn't know. He thinks he knows to a degree because he was in the game plan meeting with McVay, but he wasn't in McVay's office with the door locked while he was studying film coming up for why the rhymes and reasons happen. And that, to me, is where Shanahan sold himself short on this, like, oh, I don't want Mac Jones because the league might catch up to my offense and stuff. I think he still would have been plenty fine and had more ideas along the Drew Brees and drop back pass stuff that would have helped everything out and then made the run game just as effective too.
I just don't understand. Okay. Yes, it does. Okay. And I don't understand. I don't get it where you become disenchanted with Jimmy Garoppolo, so we need to upgrade. And, there went Matthew Stafford to the Rams, and we would have liked to have been in on that, but we didn't even get a chance because, it was kind of an inside job between Brad Holmes and Les Snead. It's not like they – and the Rams needed a place where they could dump Jared Goff, and they found the place where they could dump Jared Goff, and it worked out perfectly. But we know that they called about getting Aaron Rodgers the day before the draft, and it wasn't some lark, right? They wanted Aaron Rodgers, and they wanted an immediate upgrade to Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know how you go from wanting an immediate upgrade to the guy who can't get you where you want to be to giving up all that stuff for a guy who needs 2 or 3 years when the window is open now. The time is now. That's what I don't understand because I get so much pushback from 49ers fans who don't want to accept the reality that they've screwed up their quarterback position. Well, he needs some time to develop. That's fine. Your team is good now.
Yeah, that's right.
You could have taken somebody with the 12th overall pick that would help you win now. You could have kept your 2 first-round picks and your 3rd-round pick. You could have used that 3rd-round pick on a guy who will help you win now. I don't understand why they gave up so much for a guy who at best is going to become a great quarterback, maybe at a time when, we can't pay Nick Bosa, we can't keep this person, got too many people to pay. You never know when you're going to have the table set for a great team. It changes quickly. Look at the Chiefs. Yeah. It changes quickly.
It does.
And it's just weird. I don't understand it, Chris. That's the thing. I don't understand it. I feel like they outsmarted themselves. Yeah. And I feel like people are going to end up paying for it with their jobs at some point.
Well, I don't understand it either. I do. And, of course, he's my friend. But that's one I don't get. I don't. And he's a phenomenal, phenomenal coach and offensive mind. He is. And even his influence on the defensive side of the ball is real. That's where he's good. But you alluded to it. I think he's made one positional mistake his whole time in San Francisco. And I think it's caused them some issues. And, for the first time ever, I think the 49er fans are a little impatient because of the optics, how you've explained with the draft this year and the quarterback situation. Because of like what you talked about, the Watson-Mahomes conversation there, and when they drafted Solomon Thomas, that's a real thing. And, added to that, I think his faith in some, what I would just say, less than average backups have really led to some bad things. I mean, that to me, Nick Mullins is not even an NFL quarterback. He's a 3rd stringer. He's a practice squad guy. They rode with him, and he messed up a lot of games because of it. Same with C.J. Beathard early on in his career. So that position has really been a thorn in his side. And, when you're an offensive coach, of course, that gets accentuated even more and more of a microscope's on it. And now everybody's questioning that type of stuff with Shanahan.
Yeah, when Carson Wentz had the weird pass the other night that went right to the 49ers player. I almost tweeted, Nick Mullins says that's my move. But, look, they have had issues. And I don't know if you and I have talked about this on the air or off the air, but, it reminds me of the Gruden-Mayock vibe before all the stuff happened with Gruden, obviously. But it felt like Mayock was the one that was going to take the fall for the chronic issues, even though Gruden runs the show. And I feel like even though Kyle runs the show, John Lynch at some point is going to be the first one to go. And they're going to go out and try to hire a GM who's going to do a better job of helping Kyle set the table and maybe do a better job of being Kyle's conscience in a good way. Because I feel like whoever's talking Kyle out of doing the things he wants to do is doing him a disservice, frankly. So maybe you need somebody else there to be the balance against Kyle, because Bill Belichick needed that balance.
Sure.
He needed somebody to push back.
Sure.
Kyle needs somebody to push back.
Yeah.
I just don't know that John Lynch is the right guy to push back, because something's not working. And trust me, before Kyle goes, because Kyle's here and John Lynch is here, before Kyle goes, Lynch is going to be gone. And it's just something we need to start thinking about. I know John Lynch may not like hearing that, but it's something you got to start thinking about, because the 49ers, you take away 2019, this 5 years has not been good.
No, I get it. It's a less than. There's a lot of impressive things about the football team, but again, I think it just goes right back down to the quarterback, like you talked about. And that's why, even with those struggles with Nick Mullen and C.J. Beathard, I think the fan base could get behind it, because they kept going, damn, look at our offense, though. We're making it work with that guy. I mean, remember, Nick Mullins at one point in his first 10 or 12 starts was like, what was the stat? It was like most passing yards, or it was like he was up there with the greats of all time. And people were like, maybe he's the answer. And I was like, what? I mean, Shanahan's designed 97 million plays to him throw it 3 feet in front of him and get the guy open. Like, are you kidding me? But, of course, people caught on to that, and he'd always mess up a game in the end or a big situation, and they didn't win those games. That's Shanahan magic. He's capable of a lot, but certainly, yes, has not had the best luck or thoughts when it comes to the quarterback situation. I can't defend that a whole lot.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.